Talk too much, but I'll just give you a very, very quick snapshot of Wavesound and who we are and what we do. Wavesound started in 2010. We're an extension of a UK company, Recorded Books, and WF Howes is our English counterpart, and we're a subsidiary of WF Howes. We first initially started printing large print, and then basically started Wavesound in 2009. And then we started actually producing up until today in large print, audio, MP3 and also downloadable. And we also have digital products. Some of you might know us through Zinio. Zinio is probably our main product at this point in time. We're fully compliant with all the tender processes and all the safety compliances and all those sort of things. So obviously if a library is dealing with us, we're compliant with MAV and also Procurement Australia. And that just makes obviously dealing with us on a financial level a lot easier. There's no hoops to sort of jump through and those sort of things. So that just sort of gives you an oversnap of all that. One thing to keep in mind, we are actually a publisher. We're not just a supplier as such where we are an agency where we get contracted to look after different companies. We actually buy the large print and audio and downloadable rights to all the products. So we actually own the product. The publishers who produce them retain the rights in normal font format. We actually own the rights in the formats that we buy the licensing agreement to. So we have total control, we own it. So it gives us a lot of ownership and protection about what we actually do. We do obviously CD audio, MP3, Playway, and audio books in the downloadable format, and obviously ebooks as well, and plus e-magazines. We have many different imprints. We initially started with Clipper, but as our business has evolved and we've acquired more authors, we've actually started to separate it into different imprints, and that allows the libraries to have a much better understanding of different imprints, different categories, different genres, and also obviously different age groups and so forth. So we feel over a period of time libraries will start to associate the different imprints with things relevant to what their needs are for their library. It's a slow process. Most libraries associate Clipper, but not quite so with the new imprints. Lamplight, obviously adult, Avid, Fantasy, Jammer. We've separated adult and teens because we do find that the teens market is a little bit of a Bermuda Triangle. I know it was mentioned before. So what we're trying to do is create and curate a dedicated list aimed at the teens market. But we're actually separating it so that libraries who do want to work in that strategy, at least they've got a dedicated imprint that they can actually align themselves to. But obviously the one that's of interest for you guys is our nudged imprint for the 2 to 12. And obviously the focus has always been on the print format, but audio also has its place. And it's a matter of how the libraries actually choose to use the audio format and how they promote it. And what we're trying to do is acquire really strong authors, very professional narrators, and produce fun, exciting sort of children's audio that can be used in every aspect, either in story time within the library itself, however you actually choose to do it, or obviously parents taking them home, using them in the cars to entertain the children. I mean, there's a myriad of ways that you can actually use it. And what we're actually doing also is we're creating a dedicated Australian list at the moment. So we're now developing alliances with Australian publishers for Australian content, Australian narrators, and Australian authors and so forth. So that's our nudged imprint. So we'll have a chat about that just coming back to it. And then we've got some dedicated sort of specialised sort of imprints that have different, and this is the Wavesound imprint, which at the moment is only adult, but we're now at the next phase of that. Now that this is up and going, we'll be actually to move into acquiring children's authors, and we'll start to actually produce those in Australia locally. So that's going to be a really good development for the business. And then of course we have our digital ebooks. I was always going to ask the question about ebooks, whether that sort of comes into what you do.
Online stories, all included.
Yeah, so that's something we're sort of just starting to move into, but there's certainly definitely synergies between digital access and physical access, and that's going to be a real dilemma. Well, not a dilemma, but it's going to be a challenge for every library moving forward as to how you balance that strategy between your physical collection development and your digital collection strategies. With Zinio, which is our biggest, and we're actually doing that with one click, where we're actually acquiring children's authors and children's titles, so we can start to cater for that digital sort of access as well. Zinio is the same thing. At this point, it's predominantly a little bit of teens, but predominantly adult magazines, or not adult magazines, but more for your adult market. Just try and phrase that correctly. But we've actually just started to negotiate with magazine publishers for magazines like Kids Zone, I think Mania. There's about 4 or 5 that we've been told from libraries. We actually did a survey with some libraries and said, well, what is the most popular children's magazines that are getting borrowed that you're using within the library? And we've got probably a hit list of about 6 magazines, Australian magazines, that we hope that we'll acquire. And that again gives you another dimension as to how you can sort of promote that children's market. Anyflex, definitely not for children's. Universal Class, more for your lifelong learning. Language development, actually coming back into your bilingual sort of approach, that is something I think moving forward that can certainly be used or utilised within libraries, certainly at a children's market. We're actually getting, not a lot of libraries, but some libraries are actually starting to contact their local schools and are actually using our language learning program and working in, and getting the kids to come up, join the library, and then they can go back, and if they're doing Indonesian language or if there's a certain demographic within that school that's developing, we can actually provide a language learning solution for those schools, and also within your communities, you can actually use it within your library. So that's another sort of dimension that can be used over and above your story time and your traditional sort of methods of promoting your children's sort of material. We're actually working with a couple of the states in South Australia and also Western Australia as a statewide resource in these sort of developments. I was actually in South Australia on Wednesday, and we did not a presentation, but we had a think session with Public Library South Australia. They had a committee which they've formed, and we discussed language learning on all aspects from children's right up to adult. So they're things moving forward. And or Atomic is sort of another one again, Artist Works. Actually, this is again another one. This is music and art lessons online. So literally what they are depends on what musical instrument you want or what level of art, whether it's sketching, painting, whatever. These are actually online tutorials by dedicated world-renowned artists in their field. And again, that's another one that can be used for your community groups, your lifelong learning theme, but also for your children's groups. Have if you have music lessons, also not music lessons, but you have sessions based around your music and all those sort of things. This is certainly something also that can be utilised and used. This is only very new to us. And the other one which we've got coming next year, which again, there's a lot of debate. If you go back to when Asterix was first released, a lot of people said, oh no, we're not going to have our kids reading Asterix. But when they realised that magazines and comics can actually be a pathway to actually stimulating reading and actually then hopefully take them on to other literature and so forth, and audio can be the same. You get your reluctant readers or time poor, they're just not interested in story time, you can actually introduce them to the structure of how books are formulated and the structure, and audio can actually use that. So we've actually got a program called Comics Plus coming next year, which is going to be about 13,000 comics, from basically children's comics up to graphic novels, graphic comics as well. So that's another one.
The one that we're waiting on you getting the rights from DC or something.
That's correct. Yeah, so you're from...
We're waiting, Darren.
Oh, you're from Darren, yes. Oh yeah, I spoke to Andrew the other day, yes, of course. We've now actually acquired the rights.
Oh, you have?
So, yeah, so we do
but
have
it's
them.
not going to be available till next year?
Well, what we're going through is every digital product has to be hosted. So we just got to make sure the authentication models and all those things are in line, because the last thing we want to do is actually offer it and then find out the authentication process. What's basically happening from a digital level is that Recorded Books, our parent company, they're creating a digital gateway. All our products will sit on that one gateway. So it doesn't matter what product you've got. So if you've got Zinio, you'll be able to add another product. All your existing members won't have to pay, create a new account, and they'll be able to just seamlessly just navigate between the different products within that gateway. So that's basically what's happening. So Artist Works and Comics Plus and all those ones will all sit on that gateway. But we would think that probably first quarter next year we'll have that available. So that's going to be quite good. I won't bother you with all our different methods of how you can actually order. So that's pretty much an overview of Wavesound. So I suppose come back to nudge. Now, the conversation I had with Robin in the early days with Playgroup is that we've produced these samplers. Now what they are, they're just basically extracts, short stories from some of our nudged authors. And we actually give these to the libraries who purchase our nudged standing order plans, and they can then use them as whatever promotional method they want to use within the library. They can use them as giveaways. We sort of felt that, and this is where I need the feedback from you guys, is that we could sort of try and produce some sort of promotion to promote story time, to promote audio, to promote children's literature through this vehicle and through this format. And we would like to sort of, I suppose, come up with some sort of concept or some sort of promotion. Now obviously it's self-interest that we want to promote our nudged imprint, but us as a vendor or supplier, what we want to try and do is find product that fits your needs and basically feeds the programs that you have. And story times, audio story time, all those sort of things are obviously exciting parts of your library, and you do need good product, good authors, good strong narration that's fun and exciting for the library. So what we would like to do is try and produce a promotion that you guys are all happy with, and then what we can do is then work out the logistics of how it all work, and then obviously supply the libraries that participate with, you know, a number of these samplers that when the kids come along with the story time for this particular promotion, that they all walk away and go home with, you know, something that they can actually listen in the car or at home and so forth. And then hopefully that will then stimulate them to come back to the library and then borrow audio books from the library. Obviously not just ours, but any audio books, because it becomes self-fulfilling. You create an environment, you create momentum, and you create an atmosphere, and then what it does, it feeds what you guys are doing as a library, and then hopefully then they look at all the other aspects of what library's doing. It's like with your story time. You get the parents coming in, and hopefully then the parents will start using the library. Maybe they're not library members, they join the kids, then they join. And it's all about building your library base, building your library membership, but also building the next generation of library users coming through. And you know, we want to try and work with you and try and come up with some nice promotional sort of campaign. It'll only be like a short window of a campaign, but hopefully a building block for ongoing use for, you know, your library for audio products and so forth. I mean, Nudge is our imprint. I mean, we try and make sure that, you know, we have really good, fun, strong, bright. And this is our July to September releases. You know, we use professional narrators. They're not just people who have got nothing else to do in the office. Basically, they're contracted. They're generally actors, people who are dedicated to actually, you know, being narrators and so forth. And basically from age 2 right up to 12, which is almost your pre-teen, you know, we create all the different products that are just good, fun, bright, you know, catering for all the different demographics and so forth and interests.
The one thing that occurs to me straight away
Yep.
is if we were doing something, for example, as a giveaway in Playgroup Library Week,
Yep.
those kids are all in a very small, young age group. So
Yes.
they're all going to be what, 0 to 3?
Yes.
4, 4. So
Well, we don't have to isolate it to Playgroup. We
might
can.
actually be worth having a much more defined age group on the sampler rather
Yep.
than up to 12, even though that's...
Yeah, no, you look, these are ones we produce for a certain. I mean, we own the rights, so we own all the audio. Yeah, we own the audio rights to all our product, so we can produce samplers relevant to what we feel we need to do. I mean, literally, it's just a matter of choosing a particular genre or a particular age group or whatever, and then we can roll them out.
How
I mean,
much
we
of it-
produce these for a certain promotion.
How much time lead would you need to produce something?
Oh, that's like always as much as we can. but you know, I would imagine It's hard to say. I mean, 10, 12 weeks. I mean,
Because wouldn't it be good to link it in with summer read?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
oh, definitely. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about quantities as well as a follow-on from that,
Yeah.
because if you're starting to get into some of, if you're wanting
Yeah.
to promote some of those larger programs, you're talking thousands.
I realise that. Yes. Yeah.
Per library.
I know. I realise that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. We have to sort of evolve it, and it may just be you may have to cap it.
Well, it
to a
might be
point
like
where-
slot prizes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we do a challenge, we don't do the main summary, we do our own challenge map, and we try to get kids to use all aspects of the library through the 6 challenges. And this could be really good, because we try to get them to download an ebook.
Yes.
And they have to find the answer in one of the books that we give them the clues to.
Yep.
And once they've downloaded it, then they find the answer and then they can
Yes.
fill that into that challenge. So you could give that as sort of random prizes, I don't know.
Yeah, and it could be like the first 50 or first 100 children
I think so,
who,
we could say the first 50 to
yeah,
to fulfil the challenge.
yeah, gets a free CD or something. I mean, we would tweak that, but you know, the fact that we own it, we don't have to pay licensing rights. I mean, literally, it's just going to cost us the cost of the CD and the cover. You know,
'Cause
and that's it. We own all the artwork, we own everything, so we can,
that
and
would be
it's all
nice for the
producing in
older
the house.
The old stories.
And we get a lot of kids that sign up but don't follow through.
Yeah.
So this is like a really good thing to suck
Enticement.
them in
Yeah.
to, oh yeah, I really like that, maybe I'll keep,
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's the whole thing. It's like the 1,000 book campaign. That's not going to finish when they read 1,000 books. It's setting a pathway
Yeah.
to ongoing, infinite. And, audio has its place. And, this is just a pathway or a stepping stone or a kicking point just to stimulate them onto audio as another dimension as to how they can be exposed to literature and reading. And audio is not for everyone, but it's fun.
Well, actually, I was going to say, so I've just been thinking about it. I mean, we've got a certain demographic, like we've got visually impaired children.
Yes, exactly.
We've also got children with
Definitely.
dyslexia. And
Yes.
audio really helps
Yeah.
with that. So
Definitely.
that would be something that I would say would definitely be included in the 1,000 books.
Definitely, because I mean, with the dyslexia, as I understand, we work with a couple of schools, and they have the normal font, because basically all our audio books are verbatim of the written word. So we don't abridge them, we don't cut and paste them. They are actually a recreation of the written word. So from a dyslexia point of view, you can actually, we've got a couple of schools who buy our audio books who've got the normal font. And as I understand, it's what they do is they listen to the audio and they read, and what it does, it just resets their circuit a little bit. So it actually puts it in context, so it's not scrambling for them. They're actually hearing the words, seeing it, and then it does happily reset.
Yeah.
Apparently some schools actually do use that. I know the Prince Henry College in South Australia, they've got a dedicated program, and they buy some of our audio titles for that reason. So yeah, there's certainly synergies that can be used in other dimensions within the library. But look, if you're happy for me to have a think about maybe an embryo of a concept, and then I can basically give it to you, and then you guys can then evolve it, and then hopefully we can come up with a template that sort of suits everyone, and then we obviously put a realistic, but not a measly cap on it. We want to be as generous as we can, because we don't have it like, first 2 kids to turn up or whatever. It's like, because, I know I come from a trade background, and I worked a lot with schools in Book Week with book fairs. And to me, the excitement of the book fair is the kids turning up and finding things that, they've got their $5 budget or whatever it may be, and basically having stuff there that's going to satisfy them. And they walk out with that excitement satisfied, and I think that anything we do has got to really make sure that they walk out or come in the library with expectation, and then actually leave with feeling really good about it, and not a sense of disappointment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we all are trying to do. And I saw it so often with book fairs, and I won't mention the particular publisher, but there was one who literally dominates book fairs with the schools. And, and like they have all these expensive, boring, I mean they have some good stuff, don't get me wrong, but they have a lot of stuff that's like just out of the kids' price range.
Yeah.
And it's like the kids walk in, they got and like the parents and the parents give them $5, and they walk in, you can see them scratching around, what can I find?
Pencil with a thing on the end of it. It's not
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, to me, the way when we ran our book, and, you know, I worked in with Doubleday a lot in those sort of book clubs and so forth, and we really tried to find stuff that really catered for that $0 to $5 price bracket. So every child at least walked out with something that was a bit fun and was really good. And I think that, you know, if we do a promotion, we want to make sure it's exciting, and we want to make sure that it's, you know, it's going to stimulate their interest and obviously give you guys a pathway to, you know, to continue doing what you guys do, which is being good libraries. And, you know, and we think our nudged imprint has sort of slipped under the radar because we're sort of only fairly new. And I suppose that what we're trying to do, or I'm trying to do, is just sort of create an awareness of nudged and create an awareness of what nudged is doing and can do and will continue to do. With, you know, we're starting to acquire some really good authors, you know, as I said, professional narrators, and, you know, we're picking up, just a quick clue here, this is just September to July, but we're picking up, you know, we're doing Playway as well, and Playway has its places for some. But like, you know, different series, we're now starting to actually target really named authors that are producing some really good series. So we've got this particular one here, we've got the Harry Riddle, you know, that sort of series. So it's some really good fun stuff. And what we may do, if we do this program, we may just pick a signature author or a signature series and maybe even use that as a little bit of a building block and use that as the focus. And it may be something like they come to a story time and they dress up as their favourite character from that particular, if we can pick something that's really, I mean, we've got, you know, some of the Paddington Bear stuff, you know, whether you want to pick Paddington that comes their favourite bear or bring their favourite teddy bear along, or just, I don't know, just tossing some ideas up. But if we sort of pick something that's fairly mainstream, something that a lot of people, most kids are going to associate with, and obviously be, you know, generic with our demographics, so we're not too slanted towards the boys or too slanted towards the girls. We try and pick something that's going to be a fairly nice, balanced sort of view. But if you're happy for me to put together an embryo of a concept, and then I can float it out, and you guys can sort of toss it around. I mean, I know you've got enough workflows in your day as it is, without creating another workflow, but I think this could be a nice positive sort of thing. And just quickly, because I know we're running out of time, and this is, unfortunately this is for digital, but what we would also do, and we can do for any library, is we're looking to start to produce shelf talkers, all those sort of marketing material, also stuff for your plasma screens, and also stuff for your website, and if you want to sort of put up your YouTubes or whatever it may be. But what we'll look to do is with Nudged is produce a banner, like a stand-up banner, and also physical posters if you want. But we find the banners that are becoming quite good that would have Nudged, and then would be obviously something about some nice bright colourful authors, something about audio, the concept of audio, how it can actually help, and all those sort of things. And we produce these for our digital products and so forth. And we feel that we could produce a really nice, colourful stand-up banner that could be placed strategically within your library, and especially in particular around the promotional time. And the emails just keep rolling. So is there any questions on that? Does that sort of all make sense and feel like it could be something that's worthwhile pursuing? I mean, the main thing is that you guys have got to be happy for something like that to happen, because, you know, I'm just sort of throwing the idea out there. But if you feel that it's got merit, and if you feel that it's something we could evolve and develop and make it quite good, we're more than happy to support it and put up an embryo and let you guys evolve it. And as I said, summer reading, it's only, we've got really a 9-week, 10-week window before the start of summer. So I'm not sure what sort of time frames you're looking at, but I think definitely a summer reading program could be excellent.
A little tight. It starts 1st of December.
Yeah.
But there's always, as you said,
Yeah, July's probably
like
that's
a holiday thing.
yeah, it's a long window, but yeah, even
programs.
Easter, yeah.
National simultaneous story time.
Sorry,
But if-
National simultaneous story time.
Oh, yeah.
which
It's in May, Library Week, it's on
Oh,
the
okay.
Wednesday.
yeah, as long as the program's not too jam-packed.
No.
Yeah, but look, I think what I'll do is I'll come up with an embryo of a concept, and I think you guys then toss around with timeframes and a really good strategic time to because you don't want it to get lost, but you also don't want it to to slip into and not be participated, because you want it to be a good participation level as well.
Library week's probably a really good time.
Second national
That's
simultaneous.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, okay. Look, I'll get a template draft made up. I'll run it through Robin, and I presume that Robin's the conduit to the convener.
I'll take that on this time.
So I would, basically go through there, and then we'll just evolve from there, and you guys can toss it around and we'll work with you as best we can. Any questions before we allow you to get on with your agenda?